It's time for the FTW podcast, the Wrestling World Knowledge Laughable Glory. My name is Harrison, and with us tonight, as always, is my main man, Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
And Garvin is manning the boards. Tonight is our TNA Bound For Glory 2012 pay-per-view special, coming to you live directly after Impact on October 11th, 2012. And tonight we're basically going to talk about Impact a little bit, and then we're going to talk a whole lot about Sunday's Bound For Glory. If you're new, check out theftwpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show, as well as upcoming discussions. It's going to be a blast. My live chat hooligans are up and running in the live chat. You can join them at ftwpodcast.com/live. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, email. All those links and information is listed right there on our website, so check it out, ftwpodcast.com. But first, Rob, we're going to talk a little bit about Impact. I don't want to get too much into it because we're probably going to discuss it a little bit on Tuesday. But the two big things coming out of Impact, besides all the hype for Bound for Glory, is that we got the two matches essentially booked tonight. But the big one I would have to say is, I forget that TNA had this, but apparently they had some kind of similar cruiserweight division. Do you remember this at all? It had like an X in it. It had a belt, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that in history class. Well, anyway, now we got Zema Ion taking on RVD, and Garvin, when it was announced, Garvin's on Twitter going, I don't think RVD, it just, pops his glasses back onto the bridge of his nose and is telling everybody, I think RVD is overweight for that class, and apparently he's 10 pounds over or whatever.
Well, technically, that wasn't necessarily from me. That was going around. I did some research, and yeah, he is 10 pounds over the weight limit. It's a fact. Yeah. All right, it is a fact. It just, there you go. 10 pounds overweight. RVD versus Zema Ion. I don't know. I mean, do you really think that Zema Ion would really drop the strap to? I mean, okay, Rob. How do you feel about how they did that?
Well, I like the idea of RVD coming out, taking the challenge, really playing to Ion's character of I'm going to injure everybody. That was good. I'm not so sure I want the match to be for the X Division title, because as long as it is for the X Division title, I think RVD has to lose, and thus there's no real question to the match.
I didn't even like how, it just feels like an excuse to get RVD on the card. It's like, hey, everybody, remember ECW? Well, here you go.
It could be that. It could also be an excuse to get Zema Ion on the card so that there's some X Division representation there too.
Yeah, I laughed pretty hard when Zema Ion said there is no X Division. I was like, yeah, you're pretty right there, buddy. There really is no X Division right now. I don't know. I mean, but can you really expect RVD and Zema Ion to put together a really good X Division match?
Well, I guess we're going to find that out Sunday. RVD, as we've said time and time again on the show, he's inconsistent. Sometimes he'll have a great match that makes you think he can still do this, and other times he gives you those matches that has you and I saying, the guy's run out of gas, his career's almost over, and he should consider a new line of employment.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But I mean, I'm trying to remember what RVD's last match was like, and if it sucked or not. Because if it sucked, then he's due. But if it was awesome, then we're screwed. So
it was a good match from what I can remember. Because we had talked about how, RVD normally needs like a buffer match in between his good matches, but he had two quality matches in a row.
So then this one's gonna suck.
Yeah, hopefully not.
We're doubly we're doubly fucked. But I don't think he's wrestled in a while. So
it's even worse.
Maybe he's had time to rest. We'll see.
Well, that's the thing. Speaking of time for rest, LuTube Wins on Twitter said one upside is that Ion will probably injure RVD. We won't see him for a few months, so maybe he'll get plenty of time to rest after this. Although I think it'd be weird to bring him back. Yeah, it seemed to be weird to bring him back, only to then, sit him, bench him for a month and a half or so. Okay, Rob, I misspoke. I thought there was another match that was booked on the card, but I was wrong. But coming out of Impact, now that Lee's not here to say something stupid like, well, they haven't really promoted the pay-per-view at all. How do you feel? This is going to be awesome. He's not even here to defend himself. How do you feel about how they promoted Bound for Glory on this show? This is the go-home show.
I had no problem with it. I mean, they did the same thing that they've been doing for months and months now with the the memory segments, pushing how big a show Bound for Glory is. They've recapped the matches. Just about every match that we saw on the card tonight has implications for Bound for Glory. I mean, it's mixing and matching people, but just about everybody who was on the card tonight is going to be fighting in Bound for Glory. Bully Ray did a great job of pushing the Sting Bully Ray versus Aces and Eights match. I think they did a great job of pushing it, and if Lee disagrees with it, oh, wait a minute, that's right, Lee's not here to argue, so fuck him.
Actually, I did want to talk to you about that. When that match was booked, I was slightly more excited for Kaz Daniels versus Sting and Bully Ray tonight than I was for Aces and Eights, just because, I don't know, I'm getting kind of worn out on Aces and Eights, but seeing how that match went, and especially the table at the end, I'm like, okay, this match could be, fantastic on Sunday. Depending on who they use for Aces and Eights, this could be a fantastic match, especially if they start bringing out tables and chairs and they start going kind of old school Bully Ray on this.
Yeah, I mean, when Sting turned, my favorite moment of that match was near the end when Sting turns to Bully Ray and says, "Bully Ray, get the table," and Sting and Bully Ray just looks at Sting with like this, the fuck. Look, and holds it for like 5 seconds before he's like, "All right, you want a table? I'll get a table."
Here we go. No, I thought it was interesting. Because he basically had the same reaction that we did. The other one that I wanted to talk about, Rob, was how do you feel about how Gail Kim did against Tessmacher?
A sit-out power bomb against Tessmacher. TNA does a lot of promoting of Gail Kim about how she's the first Knockouts champion, about how she's one of the best women in the world. I think tonight Gail Kim showed you why they say that stuff about her. For the longest period of time, I'd said, Gail Kim used to be a great wrestler, but the WWE really killed that. I think now we're starting to see her get back into her groove and seeing her really start to get back into being a professional wrestler again. And I think that's going to be a huge upside for TNA.
Yeah, Rob, it's not often that I will take a moment and clap out loud, while I'm watching wrestling, at least as of late. But I definitely stood up and clapped at that. That was something that you don't normally expect from a women's wrestling match. I thought it was just it was out of the blue, it was unexpected, and it was really awesome. It was well done.
Yeah, Gail Kim really isn't known for strength and power, and for her to pull off a move like that was impressive, especially against Tessmacher, who's about the same size as Gail Kim is. So that took a lot of that had to take a lot of work,
right?
For Gail Kim to pull off. It's not like ODB pulling off a sit-out powerbomb.
Yeah, and Tessmacher's not exactly known for being the best at selling. So, yeah, good on Gail Kim for that. Well, I'm not trying to take a shot at Tessmacher. Tessmacher, we keep saying week in, week out, she's got development work that needs to be done, and one of those things is she doesn't really sell very well.
Yeah. Right now she's kind of right now she does one of two things. She either doesn't sell a move at all, or she oversells it and makes it obvious what she's doing. That's what you expect from a rookie wrestler. Hopefully she'll get better at that.
Yeah. No, it should be. Yeah, hopefully she will get better at that. And I think tonight she proved that she's able to work around that at least a little bit. As far as from the chat, they said Impact felt like a go-home show. Mojo was talking about his title defense. Zema Ion cut a pretty good promo, really boosting Bound for Glory, and even the pre-show. I forgot to mention the pre-show. That's this Sunday, the countdown to Bound for Glory as well. And since Tess had her decent match this week, we're screwed for the pay-per-view, which is probably pretty true.
Yeah. Real quick, before, I know we're going to get to it when we cover it, but I'll wait until we get back into the predictions.
So I'm really happy with how Impact went. I mean, overall, we're going to talk about it in depth on Tuesday, but I'm really happy with the booking. I'm really happy with the promotion for Bound for Glory. Made Bound for Glory seem like a really big deal, and that you want to tune in because you want to see how this stuff goes through. I thought Roode and Hardy. I'm sorry. I thought Storm and Roode did a really good job that show. I mean, it's just wall to wall. Seemed like really good.
I was upset that we didn't see Samoa Joe defend the TV title, but TNA made up for it with a great promo between the two of them. And Magnus, who we've criticized for his lack of ability on the mic, actually delivered a good segment from his end.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Yeah, Magnus, this is one of those things that I really hope that we're going to be talking about, a few weeks from now, that this is kind of when Magnus made that turn, and kind of, because we kept saying, like you said, Rob, he should be better than he is, and we really can't peg it down to one reason why, and maybe now this is going to be that time when he starts to step up. I mean, we did the same thing. Well, we didn't really do the same thing with Austin Aries. Austin Aries, it was clear from the beginning that guy was gold. But yeah, I would say Magnus, you kind of say Mojo to an extent at the beginning. He was like one of those guys where it's like, there's something holding him back. So whatever he does to get rid of that, it's sky's the limit. I think that's the case with Magnus. Do you agree? Do you think this is going to be one of those things that, depending how Sunday goes, could be like that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's had trouble. The biggest weakness I could see with Magnus before tonight was he can't really do much on the mic. He's got great skill in the ring, but his mic work and his ability to get the crowd to react to him is shit. Tonight, there was a definite turning point. He did a good job of giving a solid promo and building a segment with Samoa Joe. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he looked like where somebody of his experience should be right about now.
Yeah. And I think the fact, like you said, he can't really, although we haven't really seen him work a crowd in a while, but even when he did, it wasn't that great. So the fact that he wasn't working a crowd probably helped a lot. Plus, he had Mojo to kind of work off of and kind of carry some of it in a little bit. All right, so Bound for Glory is this Sunday. As it stands, pretty packed card all in all. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches for that pay-per-view. So it should be pretty spectacular. But first thing we got to talk about is Joey Ryan versus Al Snow. If Ryan wins, he receives a full-time TNA contract. Rob, you're going to stay with Al Snow? You really don't think that Joey Ryan's going to win this? Come on, Rob. Join the dark side. We got cookies.
I've got enough cookies right now. Thanks. I'm going to stay with Al Snow, like I said, just for nostalgia's sake. And because I think TNA can really make something out of this if Al Snow wins.
But if Al Snow wins, the Joey Ryan storyline kind of loses a lot of steam.
No, then the Joey Ryan storyline goes back to basically where it was before. He doesn't have a contract. He comes in, he messes stuff up. Maybe they put him into, maybe outside of that while he's fighting to get back, to find another loophole back into TNA. TNA sends him to Ohio Valley Wrestling or something and develops him a bit. Right now, I don't see Ryan as being... I don't think Ryan's ready.
All right. As Mr. Lucha Libre in the live chat just said, I would like some of what Rob is smoking, please. Rob, I don't know how Joey Ryan doesn't win. I mean, they've built it up for that specific ending. If he doesn't win, then what's the point? I mean, that's just a wasted storyline that went nowhere.
Not only that, but I am going to take contention that he's not ready. I think he is. He's got a kill. I mean, he's got a unique look. He's
unique is
better.
Definitely a way of describing
it. Yeah,
yes.
He's getting better on the mic. Plus, he's got a catch. I mean, bring back the sleeves, bringing the sleeves to TNA. I mean, he's got. Plus, he's got a following. I mean, he can work a crowd, and he's working up against Al Snow, which I mean, he's getting some heat for that. I really think, you got to root for the guy because, A, he's an underdog, but at the same time you don't want to because he's being kind of a jerk about it. And I think that kind of tension really works for him, and he's kind of playing in that in-between role that I really, really like seeing guys work with.
See, I don't think he's that good on the mic. That's my main problem with him. I think his glaring weakness now, months after the showdown with Taz, and I've gone back and watched that clip on YouTube a few times. When I watch that and I look at him on the mic now, I'm not seeing any improvement, and that worries me. He should have gotten a little bit better on the mic. Inside the ring, you're definitely right. He's TNA material, but he needs definite mic work. Will he probably win? Yeah, because they need people in the X division. But I'm still going to be going. I'm still going to be rooting for Al Snow for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, no, I agree, Rob. I mean, he hasn't really improved. He struggled a lot last week on the mic. You could see that he was nervous. And I don't think that there's a real direction for what they want to do with him because, at first, this whole time since he was, in his first match, he was counting on those 87%. He was getting the fans behind him. And then last week, he turned on the fans. And it was kind of strange that he went against the fans last week, but then this week
he's back rooting with them. Well, the fans.
Yeah, he's saying, we're going to the West Coast,
and
Phoenix and the West Coast, and that's where my following is, and they're going to back me up kind of thing. It was like, wait, what happened last week then?
I don't think that's him so much as that's the direction that TNA is giving him. And I think last week, I don't know, I feel like that this storyline, they kind of got ahead of themselves on it, and they should have let that kind of ferment for another week or so, and then have the challenge last week, and then the reaction this week, so that way Joey Ryan can carry the crowd. They do the booking. I mean, I just feel like last week was kind of... I think last week and the week before could have been one promo, and they could have just done it all last week.
Possibly. Another problem I see with Joey Ryan is if he wins, he's not going to be in TNA right away. If he wins, they're going to send him to Ohio Valley for development. I can guarantee you that.
I don't know about that one. I really think they could kick him right to the X division. I mean, he was like the first real gut check contestant. So, there's time that and who knows what he's been doing now. He could have been doing dark matches and stuff in Ohio Valley. I mean, just, maybe not just promoted shows, but he could be still doing ring work. Anyway, Garv, you got a last point you want to do real quick, buddy?
Yeah, this was just said in the live chat. I mean, you look at him, and he's had a couple of awesome moments, but he's not consistently awesome. At the same time, I mean, he just came up through gut check, so you can't really expect him to be on the spot every single time. I mean, there is some growth that needs to happen. Otherwise, he'd be in the main event. That consistently awesome level is only filled by a few people.
Yeah, right.
So
I can't. No, you got a point. No, Chad's got a really good point. I can't remember someone where they really came on the stage right out the bat, and you went, this guy is money. And the only person I can think of recently would be Austin Aries.
Couple quick points on that. First of all, one other big negative for Joey Ryan is that in his gut check match, he made a critical error. He upstaged the X Division champ, who's now the world champ, Austin Aries. That's something that wrestling companies don't tend to forget or forgive very easily. And the biggest thing is, I'm not saying he has to be perfect. I'm saying from his days in gut check to right now, there has been no improvement at all in his mic skills. And that's something else that's going to make a wrestling company nervous.
Yeah, but of course he's going to try and upstage the champion. I mean, he's trying to get a contract. He's got to get noticed. You can't just expect him to lay down because it's Austin Aries he's facing instead of Douglas Williams like everyone else.
Well, if you're if you're that depends on what your marching orders are. If you are told to push the champion to act in like you have some degree of respect or intimidation factor, you've got to go out there and sell that.
Well, I, like a lot of wrestling fans, will put realism behind when we're talking about wrestling. But I mean, he's playing a character, Rob. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, come on, don't play that card. Anyway,
All right,
let's move on to the TV championship. Oh God, that's such crap. That's what people do on YouTube. All right, TNA Championship, Magnus versus Mojo. This could be a turning point for Magnus. We talked a lot about Magnus. I want to talk about Joe real quick before we move on to the Knockout Championship. Mojo, we keep saying for whatever reason, he's not in the main event, and I put forward that he gets in his own way. Is this the beginning of the redemption of Mojo?
I think so. On a humorous note, I think there's one big thing in his way. Well, one small thing in his way. That stupid little mohawk has to go.
Oh no, man! This mohawk works, man.
You think so?
Yeah, it's got a very kind of island flair to it.
Kind of island flair to it.
What?
All right. You're entitled to your opinion.
Attitude, man. He's just got that kind of like, I know how to hunt and kill a tiger. I mean, that's kind of how it.
I choked out a tiger. What chance do you have against me, asshole?
Yeah. I know how to gut, and turn a tiger into a nice blanket. I mean, he has that like I think that's what that mohawk says. Anyway, so Mojo, this is his turn. So you think this is his turning point? I can kind of agree with that, and I really hope it is because. I mean, I can't count how many times, us, our listeners, all the people that comment with us and everything. I mean, we keep talking about this guy is amazing, and for whatever reason, he's just never. He's getting kicked out of the production truck, or he's kidnapped, and the storyline's going to drop.
As his manager.
Yeah, that too, and it's just like, just always. All right, so Knockout Championship. We got Tessmacher. According to us, we got Tessmacher dropping the title to Tara. Rob, are you gonna change your mind after tonight, or to me tonight you are? Okay, yeah, that's right,
yes.
You are. You changed it from Tessmacher to Tara. I switched it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's cemented.
The way the match ended with Tessmacher solidly defeating Gail Kim, and then fighting off Tara's after match attack, and then nailing her finisher on Tara. That to me says that everything is moving for Tara to win the title at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, and probably be a pretty solid rubber match where Tessmacher will get it back. But for right now, Tara's totally coming up with the gold. Point from Diva Jill. Who says that upstaging Aries wasn't Joey Ryan's marching orders? Maybe this was the plan from the start? What do you say to that, Rob?
That would be incredibly stupid of TNA's part. Why do you send somebody who doesn't even have a contract to make your champ look bad? I mean, granted, it could be brilliant if they did it the right way, and if so, in this case, I'd make an exception to the it would be stupid rule, because Joey Ryan would have played that role perfectly. But generally speaking, you don't want to have a rookie upstage a champion.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, but we are operating under the assumption that Gutcheck is being above board with everything, and that they don't have a contract. So for all we know, Joey Ryan did have a contract.
Right. For all we know, everybody that's been on Gutcheck could be Ohio Valley talent.
No, I don't think the guy from last time, the 19
Tennessee,
whatever.
The guy that got soundly voted off.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway, I don't think he has a contract with Ohio Valley. Anyway, X Division Championship, RVD versus Zema Ion. I'm taking Zema Ion just because it seems so weird. They would, RVD shows up 4 days before the match, and throws down the gauntlet. I'll take your title, and then takes the title. I mean, that seems so. I don't know. Well, Rob, you're taking RVD?
Yeah, I'm taking RVD. First of all, he shares my name, so that's an important point. Secondly, I think I think the X Division needs a little uncertainty. I think it would do Zema Ion and maybe even RVD some good to get the title off of Zema Ion. Maybe you could build up a quick feud between those two while you're waiting for other X Division talent to come back. Could be interesting to see.
Okay. I can kind of see that point, but I just still, I mean, Zema Ion just seems weird. And RVD's like Garvin said, like 10 pounds too heavy. All right, TNA Tag Team.
Well, hold on. Let me get in here. Jesus.
Yeah.
You've kept me out of the last two conversations.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you're probably going to disagree with me, and I don't want to have that happen.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm also going to go with RVD. If they had a plan with Zema Ion, like a serious, solid plan with Zema Ion, they would have, started it and consistently ran with it. I mean, the thing is that they're pushing this idea where he's, hurting people, and that's like his gimmick now, and that's cool. But without him being on TV, it's getting like the same treatment that Devon had when Devon was champion, and then you didn't see him except for pay-per-views, and that kind of hurts it. RVD is a big name that still gets a really good reaction. If they put the title on him, that could put the focus back on the X Division, and this is a great time to do that. Considering now that the BFG series is over, so there's more time to go around for everyone.
Right.
So yeah, I would say put the title on RVD, and even if it's just for that month, just to add some interest to the division, to give it back to Zema Ion at turning point kind of thing.
I mean, and Zema Ion to me has not. He's not done a good job as champion. He hasn't really sold the champion. He hasn't sold the idea of him as a viable champion. He can't even sell the idea that he's dangerous. Like his little tagline. I mean, every time I hear that tagline, I just laugh because I'm like, right.
But he is pretty.
If you say so, Garvin.
He's got the duck face going on. Chat saying if RVD wins the title, open the doors for other talents coming to the X Division, like one of the members of Aces and Eights, to be part of the X Division. Ion's had the title for a while. Also, RVD needs something to do. Yeah, I'm going to change my vote. I'm going to switch to RVD because that's a really good point. That Ion has had the title for a while. RVD needs something to do. And if Aces and Eights wins and they start going throughout the show, Turning Point would be a great spot for that, where they have like Aces and Eights have a guy in the X Division, they put this guy in the title, take on RVD, now you got a face versus a heel. I like that idea. All right, Garv, what do you got?
Yeah, just to react to some stuff that's being talked about in the live chat. Yeah, we all agree there is no build for this match. There's no real reason why RVD is in this feud or in this title shot. So we all agree with that. But at the same time, yes. The plan is for Zema Ion to eventually feud with Jesse Sorensen. But Sorensen is still months away. So you don't necessarily need the title on Zema Ion this month or next month. You probably don't need to have Zema Ion have the title again until next year, realistically.
And that's months. And that's months under ideal conditions if Sorensen keeps making the progress he's made. Neck injuries are very tricky.
Yeah, and one small thing and he could slide back. So, yeah, I think realistically this would be a smart move. Get the title off Zema Ion, bench him for a bit, maybe kick him to OVW, just kind of, make sure he doesn't get any ring rust and everything, put the spotlight on RVD. Yeah, I like that idea. Besides, Sorensen's probably not going to be back. And I would be surprised if he was back this year at all.
Yeah, and just one more thing. Nick is pointing out that we are totally contradicting ourselves from last month, when we basically defended the fact that Zema Ion had to keep the title for this very reason. And yeah, but it's just that, since then, Zema Ion really hasn't done anything. So it's obvious that they're not really comfortable with him as champion right now because there aren't, there isn't enough time to give him, realistically.
No, there's like he said, there is no X Division right now.
Yeah.
And we said this last week. We said this last pay-per-view, but also last pay-per-view, we were operating on the assumption that, if Zema Ion has the belt, he's going to move forward with something. They're not, so get it off of him and give it to somebody else. Just do something with it. TNA Tag Team Championships. We got AJ Styles and Angle versus Chavo and Hernandez versus Kaz and Daniels. I'm picking Chavo and Hernandez to walk out with that, and nothing I saw on Impact is going to change my mind.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my pick because I need the points.
That's a good enough reason as any. After everything that happened, the fact that Kaz and Daniels as champions got essentially squashed in their match against two guys that really haven't wrestled together in a while. And then AJ and Angle with their little inner feud thingy, whatever, Angle playing favorites to not AJ. I don't know, lovers quarrel. Chavo and Hernandez were the only ones that are really operating as a team. And if there's one thing that TNA loves to do with their tag team division, it's to highlight that the better team usually wins, not so much the better talent. So if two guys are moving cohesively as a team, they're more likely to give them the belt and say, look, teamwork, it works. Work is in the name. So that's why I'm going with that. Well, no, they have. I mean, look at, back in the heyday. Remember back in the heyday of tag team wrestling 11 months ago when we had all those teams in there? I'm going to take you back to 2011. Barack Obama was president, and TNA Tag Team Championships were awesome to watch.
Though, Kaz and Daniels have been good champions.
No, they haven't been good champions. They've just been really good in the ring. I mean, they haven't really done much as champions. They've been really good. That whole, besides the whole Claire storyline. Look at the match.
Have they been defending the titles a lot? No. But, yeah. They're still putting on quality work. They're still getting reactions. They're still putting themselves out there. If you were to tell me that they had to take one title off of TV, the X Division or the tag team titles, 6 months ago, I would have guessed it would be the tag team titles, but it's been the opposite. And I think that is a testament to Christopher Daniels. Not so much Kaz because he's awful, but Daniels has been fantastic. But I think as far as a team goes, they've been a very solid team.
Yeah, but if I have to watch Daniels come down to the ring one more time with the tag team belt hanging out of his pants and humping the damn thing, I'm gonna fly down to Orlando and beat the shit out of him personally.
But Rob, that's the point. I mean, like Garvin said, Daniels is great. Kaz not so much. The two of them do work together, but that's because Kaz is content to take a back seat to it and kind of let his ring work kind of speak for him. But Daniels is so good on the mic, and I really think maybe these guys have had a good run. They did the Claire storyline, which was kind of crap, but now AJ's moving on. Maybe AJ and Daniels start to have a straight feud in a singles match because AJ and Angle's great, but I like the idea of AJ and Daniels a whole lot more than AJ and Angle. So,
yeah, and like with all that said, though, we are all in agreement that Chavo and Hernandez walk out with the titles.
Oh yeah, hands down. They're the two hot. As far as Kaz and Daniels are rising, but Chavo and Hernandez are rising faster. And I think you really got to get the belt, and you got to ride that wave, especially with Chavo just coming back. I guess you could say just coming back. It's been less than 3 months, so.
Yeah, you don't bring Chavo back to have a match with Kid Cash and then lose for the tag team titles.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't bring a WWE talent in to win the belt right away. What do you think this is, the women's knockout division? Come on. Anyway, so he's got to work for it a little bit. All right, so, yeah, we're all picked for that one. The street fight, Bobby Roode versus James Storm. All right, I've said it, I'll say it again. I really don't think these two should have had any contact with each other up until Sunday night. Bringing King Mo in, it'll be kind of an interesting angle to do it, but I really, really don't like the fact that these two actually laid hands on each other before Sunday. I think, man, it's all about the silence before the bang. That's where you're going to get the most. That's where you get the most tension, and I feel like they kind of lost that.
At the same time, though, you look at how their feud has been built up. It's not like two guys who respect each other and want to see who's the better wrestler type of thing. That's where you would see that type of build-up. Instead, these guys hate each other. They want to kick each other's ass. Of course, they're going to be, trying to get at each other throughout the entire month. That makes sense. That makes total sense.
And we And what's more, it gives an actual reason for the street fight. I mean, by having these guys just brawl all over the arena for a few weeks, it gave Hogan the opening he needed to come on and say, TNA officials have thrown up their hands and said, we give up trying to keep order with these guys. So because of that, I'm just going to put you guys in a street fight and let you guys beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I mean,
I think TNA is doing a lot of stuff right. They give you a good build up. They're picking the right type of match. They've got a storyline that justifies picking that match type. I don't see where this is a bad thing.
Because Rob, because the thing is, this has essentially been building for a year. Yeah, we had a couple matches in the beginning where they kind of hit each other and stuff, but really this has been a year, and I think the big thing is that they could have made a street fight and put King Mo in there without having to have them fight in the arena. Hogan, like Chat's saying, Hogan could have issued a no touching order to build tension. I like that idea. I like the idea of Hogan saying, no, you guys can't do it because we don't trust you guys to not kill each other before the match. If you guys do the no touching order, we'll let you each pick a stipulation. All of a sudden, Roode comes out and says, well, then I want King Mo, my buddy King Mo to be the special guest enforcer. And James Storm's like, fine, fuck you. Street fight. No rules, no DQ. I'm coming after you. And I'll come after your buddy King Mo, and I don't care.
Harrison, just to interrupt here. We have complained so much that Hogan is involved in too much. And this has even been talked about in the live chat. To have Hogan step in that role and stop them and put this order, that puts Hogan in something else that he doesn't really need to be involved in. So, yes, in normal circumstances, I could see maybe that's a good idea. But because of how this storyline has been built up from the year, this whole year up until this last month, it made more sense to do it the way they're doing it.
And a no touching rule. What is this, kindergarten now?
Well, no. I mean,
Okay, Bobby, you go to that corner. Hey, James, you go to that corner. I'm serious. No cookie for you.
No,
come on.
No, Rob. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I really, I just can't get over the fact that if I went in today, that Bobby Roode and James Storm got in that locker room and they were about to go at it, and King Mo broke them up. I mean, it'd be like that constant, these two, all that tension, all that build up, all that anger they have for each other with no outlet until Sunday is just such a huge thing for me. I mean, when you think about when Lewis fought Ali for the first time, that's what it was like. It was like that thing where the two of them were so at it, and you could see Ali did not respect Lewis at all, and it was just like such a. Well, anyway, Chat's saying, no, this is a really good point. Chat's saying, can we all agree that if Roode wins, the fans will be pissed? Yeah, I think at this point we got to have James Storm have that big payoff, right? I mean, it's been a year, essentially. I mean, can you really have this keep going with Roode having a victory?
I don't think so, because if there are fans like you, Harrison, and other people who are already getting tired of it and don't like where things are at right now, I think you need some kind of an end, and that end has to be a James Storm victory.
Okay. Because you do bring up a good point, Rob, that, regardless of whether or not you and I disagree on how this has been built up, James Storm winning makes both of us happy.
Right.
Okay. Chet's saying, there will be bloodshed in Phoenix. But they still think that Roode will win and extend this feud at least another month, all the way to Turning Point. I don't know. This is Bound for Glory, man. This is where it started. I really like the idea that the poetry of it ending where it started. But can you really see this thing going till Turning Point? Rob,
No.
Garv? Okay, so Rob says no Garv. I mean, are you with him on that?
Not in that scenario, but I could still see it going. If Roode loses, okay, let me take a step back. Building up to this month, Roode was like, I've already beaten James Storm. I'm going for the title. I don't need to face James Storm. If James Storm wins at Bound for Glory, then I could see Roode coming back saying, I need to beat you, or Hogan can interrupt and say, if Bobby Roode wants a title shot, he needs to go through James Storm and do it that way. So I could see a possibility being there, but I still see James Storm winning.
Yeah, I can see that possibility too. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I still pick James Storm. Regardless, out of all the matches on the card, as far as it just has potential for being match of the night, this one has got to be top, right? I mean, street fight, Roode, Storm, King Mo.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll just be kind of I don't know. I think it's gonna be kind of like when Tyson was special guest enforcer at WrestleMania. Wasn't really a factor until the end. So I really don't think King Mo's gonna be much of a thing until right at the end. Maybe he punches out Roode. Who knows? All right. Aces and Eights versus Sting and Bully Ray. If Aces and Eights win, they receive full access to the Impact Zone because that's how this works. And if Sting and Bully Ray win, Aces and Eights will leave TNA forever because that's how this works. I'm sticking with it. Aces and Eights win because there's been next to no motivation for why Aces and Eights are doing this other than to get access to the Impact Zone. If they lose, what do they got?
After tonight, I'd like to say Sting and Bully Ray win, but beating Kaz and Daniels, it was almost Bully Ray winning a handicap match. Sting really at times was almost a detriment. So I definitely have to go with Aces and Eights.
I mean, that was part of his age.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously you can't expect him, but
he's in his t-shirt. Crying out loud. It looks like he just rolled out of his car.
But at the same point in time, I mean, he really at times wasn't able to do his part of the tag team equation.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this is starting to be the end of, I don't want to say the end of Sting, but you know what I mean? Where he's kind of like going to sail into the sunset. Let's go out on a high note. Let's not Hogan this up or Flair this up. Let's Steve Austin this up. Let's go out while we're still on top. All right, so Aces and Eights win. They get access to the Impact Zone. Here's the thing, though. I mean, Aces and Eights win. I mean, do you think we're going to have some kind of big reveal out of this? There's got to be, do you think, look, Bound for Glory. It's the biggest pay-per-view of the year. They've been hyping it up like crazy. Aces and Eights is the one huge storyline that TNA has right now. There's got to be something else that happens. And the kind of one that's kind of sitting in the background that we talked about a little bit on Tuesday is Bully Ray turns on Sting. And turns out he's a member of Aces and Eights. Do you see that?
I could see that. If I had to pick a big surprise, I would say almost equal to that is I would not be surprised if Abyss turned out to be a member of Aces and Eights.
As his third personality?
or no, just as like Abyss.
So Joseph Park looks for Abyss, can't find Abyss. Abyss comes up with Aces and Eights, to which he kidnaps himself. That must have been a real mind freak for the guys in Aces and Eights to have to sit there and go, wait, boss, you want us to torture you? Hell yeah, I want you to torture me. Don't hurt me, I'm just Joseph Park. And they start hitting him with a flashlight.
Yeah, it's being talked about in the live chat right now, and we've seen it for months. Just the idea of someone turning on TNA. Now the two choices that we have is it going to be Sting? Is it going to be Bully Ray? Sting would be the surprise, but a bad surprise, I think. I don't see Sting being the guy to turn. I think that would be really awful, especially because this is his Hall of Fame night. This is where he gets inducted.
Oh, yeah, right. It can't be him. No, that would be TNA shooting himself in the foot. Yeah,
but you go with Bully Ray, and he's got a few different reasons why that would happen. One, they aren't really giving him the respect that he deserves, if we want to use that terminology. And they haven't given him, a clean title shot, considering he's beaten Aries, he's beaten Hardy. He's a guy who really should be in that main event. as far as, the title shot, I think. So, and that's what the live chat is saying too, that it would make sense that he would change sides, aces and eights, because of how TNA has disrespected him, and they would help him get a world heavyweight championship shot.
No, that's a fantastic idea. And up until tonight, I would be 100% behind it. But guys, I mean, Garvin, chat, that crowd, he had them eating out the palm of his hand. So do you think that maybe TNA, if that, I'm willing to completely agree with you guys that it'd be a perfect reason to turn Bully Ray. Do you think they look at Thursday night or do they look at tonight and they think, we got 4 days, we got to come up with something else because we got to do something with Bully Ray to where he's going to be loved by the fans. They want to love this guy. They want to be cheering the fire-breathing Twitter machine.
And Bully Ray, I mean, at times during the match, he's looking at the crowd. He really enjoyed being the fan favorite again.
Oh yeah. You could tell he was eating it up when he gets out the table, he kicks it over, you can see that gleam in his eye where he's like, oh, I miss this. I mean, yeah, Rob, you're absolutely right. It was like he was loving it every step of the way, So
now, a couple weeks ago, and I want to throw this out and see if anybody else kind of caught this or if I'm just losing it. A couple of weeks ago when the leader of Aces and Eights was talking at length, granted they garbled his voice or something, but I noticed that he talked in a similar style to Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, that was
that's going around.
Yeah, that was a good point, Rob. That was something we were talking about too, is that they got to have whoever's in charge of Aces and Eights. So maybe instead of having Sting or Bully Ray, maybe that's just the one thing. Like they've been kind of keeping that in their back pocket to reveal at a future date, and they're like, well, we keep Bully Ray face, or we turn Bully Ray face or a tweener or something, because putting him as Aces and Eights is going to kill this momentum. And then now we make the big Bischoff reveal. I love that idea because this Bischoff as the leader of Aces and Eights fits historically with everything that we know about Eric Bischoff. And not only storylines that he's been involved in, but I mean, come on, he was with NWO. I mean, he loves these kind of storylines, and he's
a big biker.
And he's a big bike. Well, that to a lesser extent, but yeah, I could definitely see that as being one of the inspirations where they're like, well, we'll channel that too.
Well,
yeah,
I think you guys are reading too much into it. I mean, realistically, they are changing out people every week just to keep fans guessing. I mean, you could tell Samoa Joe was in that role at one point. D'Lo Brown was in that role at one point. Now Bischoff. We were also hypothesizing that maybe Joseph Park was one of them at one point. I mean, there's been a lot of switches on who that main person is every week just to throw us off. So I wouldn't necessarily read into Bischoff. Yeah, he would make sense. Jeff Jarrett would make sense. I mean, you could throw anyone in there who hasn't been on TV in a while that would make sense.
Problem is there isn't anybody small enough to be Jeff Jarrett. He's a tiny man.
Well,
Austin Aries is tiny.
Eric Bischoff is pretty tiny.
Not as small as Jeff Jarrett.
All right, well, if we see a guy sporting an acoustic guitar.
Of course, if you're doing the video segment where the leader's sitting down, it's a lot easier to hide a smaller guy like Jeff Jarrett or somebody.
Yeah, and the other thing about Bischoff is that it also brings in the fact that, his son, and then you could bring in that whole angle, the storyline in as well, especially because his son was kind of passed over, and, we haven't really seen him for a couple weeks, so I don't know. I think if they got to do something, I just got to think in the back of their head. I think right now, TNA Creative's kind of meeting, and there's a big Bully Ray is written on a whiteboard somewhere with a question mark around it, going, do we pull the trigger on this, or do we make him a tweener? If that's the case, if he was going to turn on Aces and Eights, I think at this point, if I was there, I would be advocating strongly we don't make him the betrayer, and we make him the tweener and get the crowd behind him, because, man, he had them eating on the palm of his hand.
Yes. Okay. Yes, they did. It's been a long time since I've heard the Impact Zone that loud cheering for, a guy like Bully Ray. But at the same time, I'm against keeping him face, knowing that there really aren't that many faces. And we've been discussing.
Heels.
Yeah, heels. That's what I mean. Like, there aren't many heels, and we've been raving about how awesome he is as the top TNA heel. Why destroy that?
Because you're going to make something better out of it. I think, look, if Bobby Roode, James Storm ends tonight, Bobby Roode could kind of slide into that heel role a little bit. I mean, you got room there with, I don't know, maybe Samoa Joe. You can kind of turn him. Well, he's got the TNA Championship, though. Austin Aries is doing a pretty good, solid heel run. I mean, you got some names you could throw around there. Yeah, it does hurt that you lose the top heel, and maybe you go for a month, you have to now build up a new top heel, and maybe Austin Aries can do that. You take the title off of him, and then you turn him into this raging badass. But like you said, man, you cannot deny that crowd was just stomping. I mean, they damn near tore the building down.
But they do give him awesome reactions regardless. I mean, he's getting that same reaction every time he's out there. It's just that tonight they were cheering for him, and usually they're booing at him. But they're still giving him a huge reaction. At the same time, it's being said in the live chat, we don't necessarily need to define everyone as a heel and face every time. They don't necessarily need to switch. He can be a solid tweener, too.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and I think that's the case, but I think if you put him into aces and eights, you damage him a little bit, and you take a lot of that steam out of him if you do that. Well, Rob, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that, I'm kind of where you and the chat were on this. I mean, you have a guy like Austin Aries, you have a guy like Bully Ray. These guys are kind of above the definition of heel and face. You can have them be what you need in a given situation. They just go out there, do their thing, and however the crowd reacts to them, they play off of that. Yeah. Austin Aries is great at it. Bully Ray is awesome at it too.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and I just, regardless of what happens with Bully Ray, I think basically putting him into aces and eights would just be a mistake. Regardless if he's heel, face, whatever. I mean, you would kill a lot of what happened tonight on Impact. All right, so if you believe it or not, TNA also has a World Heavyweight Championship match as well. At the end, we decided we didn't want to talk about for 20 minutes. Jeff Hardy going up against Austin Aries. Rob, so far Garvin and I are saying that he's dropping the title to Hardy. Where do you stand?
I think he's going to keep the title. I like the new personality that he came out with. I mean, even if they are almost blatantly ripping off CM Punk, I like the attitude that Aries comes out and says, you know what, this is what TNA wants me to do, but fuck them, I'm going to do my own thing.
With the little TNA letterhead?
Yeah.
I have an official transcript here from the corporate office, blah, 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 blah. Screw
I
you,
have
that's
an
what I
official
say.
Script, a one-page script that I can crumple up in my hand.
Well, it could be worse, he could have written it on his hand.
This is true.
Okay, so
but then you couldn't crumple it up, because,
Yeah, it's his hand. Yeah. No, that's a fair point, Rob. Austin Aries, so you saying he's dropping the title to Hardy? Oh, you're staying with it.
Yeah.
Oh, but
yeah.
No, Rob, this is a perfect opportunity for me to segue in. Mr. Lucha Libre in the live chat said, question, since Roode lost last year at Bound for Glory, if Hardy loses, does that completely discredit the series? Rob,
No.
if you're right, Austin Aries winning, that's 2 years in a row that the Bound for Glory series winner did not become champion.
And?
Well, that's a terrible.
Yeah, that's a pretty
awful.
big deal.
that's the worst comeback ever. And I mean, well, no, come on, Rob. I mean, you gotta come on, fight with me a little bit here, man. We gotta have a show here. Help me out.
Well, at the same time, Hardy, I mean, he's not going into the pay-per-view 100%. His nuts hurt really bad.
Yeah, his nuts hurt.
So I could see it.
Best, yes, that was awesome.
And that's a serious injury to overcome. I mean,
yeah, that was epic. All right, Rob, come on, Bound for Glory series, 2 winners, 2 years, no champion. You don't think that hurts the series at all?
I don't think so. No, I mean the series is never about guaranteeing somebody a championship belt. It's not about guaranteeing somebody a championship belt. It's about guaranteeing somebody the chance to become champion. It's not like Money in the Bank, where it's a gimmick that is easily turned around to guarantee that the winner becomes champion. So I don't think that it hurts the series at all. Does a BFG winner need to win the title at some point? Yeah, probably. But if the first 2 years of the tournament, if the winner doesn't become champion, I don't think that hurts this series at all.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts the series, but it would hurt me in the sense that I would really no longer want to see the series. Like, it takes up so much time, and it's no longer including house shows anymore. Like, they're taking time from the TV title, they're taking time from the X Division, the knockouts to do this, and for it not to pay off, it does seem kind of
and not only that,
a waste.
Not only that, Garv, but going into that, we were all like, okay, make it Bully Ray. Give it to Bully Ray. When we were going into No Surrender, we're like, give it to Bully Ray and we'll be happy. Like you said, man, this has been 3 months this damn series has been going on. They don't give it to Bully Ray. They give it to Jeff Hardy, who's essentially the John Cena of TNA. It's like, all right, fine. If you're going to do that, give him the strap. At least give me the 3 months that I've just watched has not been wasted.
Yeah, and let's all be honest
but it's
here.
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. No one wants to see Jeff Hardy hold a title. No one. Well,
yeah.
Okay, we don't want to see Jeff Hardy.
Nobody above the age of 13 wants.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand Jeff Hardy, but at the same time, it's got to go to him.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
See, the thing is, guys, I look at Jeff Hardy as like my TNA tax. To enjoy TNA, you got to pay your dues. Jeff Hardy hold the belt is one of those dues. Like with WWE, the Diva tax. Yeah, you can enjoy WWE, but you're going to have to pay the tax of having to watch the Divas matches. So this is the TNA tax. You have to watch, and you have to watch Jeff Hardy hold the belt. I'm willing to pay for that. We've been watching this tournament for 3 months. We didn't get Bully Ray. All right, I'll eat my peas, and I'll watch Jeff Hardy hoist the belt. I'm fine with that. But come on, at least 3 months. Make it worth it. Make it mean something. Even if it isn't the ending that I want, it's an ending.
I'm sticking with Austin Aries.
You are such a douche, Rob. Come on, I made a comparison to peas, taxes, and essentially movies. That's 3 comparisons in the form of 1 rant, and you still won't change your vote?
The winner of the Royal Rumble, I don't believe. I believe the winner of the Royal Rumble very rarely wins the title at WrestleMania.
No, I want to say it's actually it's better than even, I want to remember. Because they always do those stats at the end, and I want to say it's actually better than even that, I don't want to say it's 75%, but I want to say it's close to about 60, that the winner of the Royal Rumble wins the belt. But come on, Royal Rumble's been on forever. Chat, awesome line. So going to the bathroom for a Divas Hardy match qualifies as tax evasion. I don't know. You'd have to ask Ric Flair about that one. All right, so I don't know. I love the Bound for Glory series. I'm kind of with Garvin. I don't like that it's taking up too much time during the shows. But if it is, at least this year or next year, blow the doors off the damn thing. Man. I mean, you're really gonna have to win us back for that. At least for me. I don't know how you guys feel. Rob, Chat, Garv. I mean, if Hardy didn't win, okay. Well, Rob's got his point. Garv, if Hardy did not win. Come on, you're saying you would not want to watch next year? I mean, what would they have to do to make you watch?
Well, let me take a step back. This was the 25th year of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 people to win the Royal Rumble and then win the championship at WrestleMania. Really?
So I was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I apologize then. I thought for sure it was better than even, but okay, so 12 out of 25, it's less than half. It's about 42%, I think. Okay, so about 42% go on to win. So, oh God, I don't want to figure out that math with the Bound for Glory series. Anyway.
Okay, so outside of that, I love the idea of the Bound for Glory series. I really like how they've been doing it, but it's just that thing where it's like, that they build you up, then they build you up, and then nothing, and then there's no payoff. That's my only issue, and I would have a hard time next year getting really involved in this, knowing that it's unlikely that they'll move on as winner. But I don't know. That's just me. I'm sure not a lot of people are like that. It has been a quality tournament. I like the round robin setup. There's not enough of those in the American wrestling industry. So
you're gonna take that hipster argument with us? Yeah, I'd be okay with Jeff Hardy losing if it was like one of those things where Jeff Hardy made it clear that he wants to go after not just Austin Aries but the title from the beginning, and then it was like a solid feud throughout. So you have Jeff Hardy proving how awesome he is by winning this tournament. Then Austin Aries overcomes that to cement his championship. But that's not how they're billing it. I mean, they're billing it as Jeff Hardy has done amazing things. Austin Aries wants to do those amazing things. So he would really like to have the belt to do those things.
And another thing you have to realize, too, we're picking who leaves with the belt. And if they're going to build Austin with this heel turn, who's to say he doesn't take a shortcut to win? And thus, you don't damage BFG because Hardy got cheated.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't damage the tournament, but you kind of damage Bound for Glory. I mean, that's kind of like WrestleMania. I mean, can you imagine if Rock versus Cena turns out at the end, Cena gave a nut shot to Rock and then the bell rings? I mean, that's not really what everybody came to see.
Yeah,
they came to see everybody do their 5 moves of doom and the crowd go crazy.
But did people come to see Cena look out at the crowd like, God damn, I can't believe I'm gonna do this?
Well, that was something we noticed. That's something else noticed.
One thing it's being brought up in the live chat. Angle screwed Robert Roode last year at Bound for Glory. So I mean, if we saw the same thing, it wouldn't be like, an issue per se, but it would be a carbon copy.
Yeah, that'd be one of those things. But Bound for Glory this year is being billed entirely different than Bound for Glory last year. Bound for Glory last year was, like we were saying, it was a big pay-per-view, but it wasn't that big of a pay-per-view. But now that they're doing, and I think that's Pritchard really coming in and kind of giving it the WrestleMania treatment. This is a huge deal. These are the wrestlers talking about their favorite Bound for Glory moments, like my favorite WrestleMania moments. This has Pritchard's fingerprints all over it. And I think with that, it's got to be
You're on the right path. I mean, TNA's always pushed it as the biggest show of the year, but I will agree with you that with Pritchard in there now, they've definitely pushed it up a notch. Pritchard has said, okay, here's what you have to do if you want to build a WrestleMania type show.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, chat's also saying if Hardy doesn't win, they should drop the series from 3 months to 2 and count house shows again so we don't miss out on and Knockouts Next Division stuff. I don't know. I think at this point, if TNA is going to do something like that, they're going to want to go bigger as opposed to shrinking. So they would either add another hour to Impact and do that. I would think that would be a lot more likely than pulling the tournament back a little bit.
Well, I think one of the reasons they pulled house shows this year is last year, a lot of fans, myself included, bitched that we didn't get to see all of the tournament matches. You just saw like highlights and stuff from the various house shows.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, this year, the weird thing is, though, no, Rob, you're absolutely right, but the weird thing is this year they did the world tour at the same time as the Bound for Glory series. So you could go when they were in there and see a Bound for Glory series match. Whereas last year, I don't think they did the tour at the same time. So it's like...
Yeah, they were still doing... The house shows are always touring the country.
No. But the big where they were the big world tour and then they had the base brawl or whatever it is. It seems weird that they would promote that a lot more this year and then take away the Bound for Glory series from those matches or from those events that you could go to.
Yeah, and at the same time, I mean, there are ways around that to make it readily available to everyone, such as I don't know, their YouTube channel, like it's being talked about in the live chat. There is ways that they could still put the matches on house shows, yet still make them readily available to their fans online or on Explosion.
Agree, but for some reason, I agree with that, Garvin. But for some reason, TNA didn't do that in year one.
But YouTube was still young for them, at least.
Yeah.
You got to think of how they've progressed with technology and the social media and stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah,
it doesn't it never fails to amaze me. TNA's IT department can't update their website to save their life, but goddamn, they post on YouTube regularly.
yeah, look, TNA, if you need a good web developer, I know a guy. So if you need to get somebody, I can hook you up pretty solid. He did our website. It's pretty good. Although
he's got a nice beard too.
He's got a nice beard. Although the responsive design that he's done has some bugs that seem to never, ever, ever get ironed out. But that's fine. That's fine. It's responsive design. It's an art, not a science. All right. So that is, look, so I mean, I got to be honest. Bound for Glory, this potentially best pay-per-view TNA is going to do probably of the last year, maybe 2 years. I'm excited for the show. It's going to be fantastic. The only thing I'm more excited for is the UFC fight the night before, and that's only because I want to see if Anderson Silva wins again. But I really, as far as wrestling goes, I'm more excited for this than I am for probably the next 2 or 3 WWE pay-per-views, just because this is such a huge deal for TNA. I want to see them pull it off. What about you guys? Rob, what do you think?
I'm right there with you. I'm expecting the best pay-per-view out of the year from TNA.
Garv?
They've had an excellent track record, so yeah, I'm going to have to say this has to be great, and it should be great. I mean, the card on paper has improved a whole lot over the last month.
Yeah.
So, but one thing.
Oh, sure.
And I know we're going long on this show, but one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I think we should discuss a little bit, is the placement of that last match. What is that last match going to be? Because one thing that we compare between TNA and WWE that they do every single time is put the world title match as your last match. At the same time,
Aces and Eights.
Aces and Eights is such a huge story that involves everything, and there's going to be some kind of reveal. How do you not put that as your last match?
If I'll tell you what, if we're getting to the end of Bound for Glory, and the TNA Heavyweight Championship happens before Aces and Eights, one of two things are going to happen: Aces and Eights win, and or we get a huge reveal, because that is. Aces and Eights standing over Sting and Bully Ray's bodies in the middle of the ring. And the pay-per-view, go to Impact. Hell yeah, I'm watching that. Bischoff comes out in an Aces and Eights shirt. Hell yeah, I'm going to watch that on Thursday too. So, I got to be honest, with Aces and Eights, Garv, yeah, you're right. TNA has been really good about putting the strap as the last match. But with this one thing, this has got to be the exception.
And I think it's acceptable.
Yeah, Joe's not here to disagree with us and yell at us about how things were in the olden days when we all went out and churned our own butter. Go on, Rob?
I said when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, we all went by horseback. Well, what do you think, Rob? Are you okay with Ace and Eights and closing out the show?
Yeah, in this instance, usually I'm with Joe, and that. In that the world title or the federation title has to be the last match of a pay-per-view. This is an exception I would make, though, because the Aces and Eights storyline is so huge, and so much of TNA going forward hinges on how this storyline plays out.
Federation title. I can't believe you busted that one out.
So, do we put the Hall of Fame induction at the very beginning of the show, or do you see it being like a filler in between?
The Hall of Fame, they'll probably show a video package for that, because the actual induction
is Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah,
during fan access.
Yeah, we're probably going to see it. We'll probably going to see video packages of it. We'll probably see like a real short recap of it during Bound for Glory, because I think the video package, like the full video package, is probably going to be during the countdown show beforehand.
Oh, that is fantastic. I did not read that, but I'm glad that is happening, because this show is pretty stacked. I think 8 matches total. So I mean, you put a Hall of Fame thing in there, and that you're going to cut someone short. So yeah, good.
No.
Good move.
And having the Hall of Fame on a separate night also kind of gives us some distance. Kind of makes it very clear that this is Sting's night. Sting can come out. He doesn't have to worry about it isn't like we watch Sting come out on the podium, and then 2.5 hours later, we're watching him getting beat up by the Aces and Eights. We've had a day to kind of buffer ourselves. It's very clear that there's a demarcation. It's something that WWE does very well with their Hall of Fame. Make that demarcation between, we do this on Saturday before WrestleMania. It's done. Now we're moving back to the show.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, yeah, it should be a fantastic pay-per-view. Totally looking forward to it, discussing it, and essentially either being super excited or bitching like crazy on Tuesday. Hopefully we're going to be super excited, Rob. That is it. That is the show. Check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. There's a support tab where you can donate, buy merch, as well as link to us on iTunes and Stitcher so you can rate us from there. We accept no less than 4 stars. We'll be live tweeting, actually, the entire pay-per-view at FTW Podcast on Twitter, so look for Garvin's Garvinisms on there. Thank you, live chat hooligans. You guys are money yet again. The tax evasion line is awesome. We record every FTW Podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time at ftwlive.com. Looking forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. This should be an awesome pay-per-view. Later.